things you share, and then they give you 1 or 2 questions on my own one. And while
Okay.
while they load, because they need time to load the Facebook questions into my this A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Skills Future at CDC 2020, the future of you. My name is Irene Ang, and I'm the host for this series. And every night we have a Facebook Live Learning series together with our Southwest, Southeast, Northwest, Northeast and Central CDC mayors. Together with 5 local celebs, we will be learning and training together with all our community trainers. Now this year, our Skills Future at CDC is being, due to the COVID situation, is being moved from heartland shopping malls and heartland places to your home. So thank you so much to the team behind. Okay, you can't see it, but we can see all of them working for weeks. And we're very happy that today is our first day, and we already have completed 3 out of the 37 Zoom workshops, all right? There's 37 workshops, and they are all free. A lot of them are taster. And particularly, I want to mention the SkillsFuture Advice Workshop, which takes place in Chinese, English, Tamil, and Malay. Also, we are also having tasters such as digital analytics, e-commerce, even for families, like for you and your kids, there's magic shows to learn. And this afternoon, we had Suhaimi Yusof sharing with us how to do quick fire video editing. And almost 2,000 people has logged in, and I'm sure Singaporeans will become a nation of video editors. Okay, so this tonight's first masterclass is actually the first of 5 masterclasses, and our first trainer for today is actually a lecturer and functional lead, marketing section, Singapore Polytechnic. He is also a developer of the modules in this Singapore Poly for 4 years, and he has led many branded projects. He's in his career in a lot of digital marketing area, and has worked with several different brands like FJ Benjamin, Gongcha, Watsons, and Snapples. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, oh yes, before I introduce him, please reserve your Q&A till the end. After the presentation, we will have a Q&A where you could ask questions to our speaker. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put on the comment +1 if you like and if you're excited. Please welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Lucas Talk. Lucas, please.
Hi, Irene. Thank you. Thanks for the introduction.
I'm so amazed by your youthful young look, Lucas. I tried to do a research on you, Lucas, and it's amazing that you still look so young despite your very long and luminous career and accolades. How has the COVID been treating you?
It's been all right. It's like what everybody's saying. It's a new norm. You just try your best to do your job. You do your best in whatever you need to do, and you see where that takes you. You know, so it's a lot of trial and error. But in that trial and error, you're also finding out new and better ways to do things. So there's a lot of new things learned, and at the same time, there's a lot of things that you just want to like throw in the bin after you tried it once.
Yeah. So that's the reason why this year's theme is called the future of you, where actually what we want is for everyone to be in control, be accountable, and take charge of our own future. And you know what, we're very, very thankful because one thing that came about during this whole circuit breaker staying at home is digital marketing is so hyper important. Last time we thought it's only for a certain group of people or for marketers, but now anyone from auntie selling curry puff, like what Suhaimi was sharing this afternoon, up to CEOs like myself, up to a hair salon, up to our speakers just now from the F&B sectors, everyone needs digital marketing, and we're so thankful. We know that we got old people like us especially wouldn't have time to go and sign up for your classes in Singapore Poly, but you are going to share with us some very precious information and know-how in the next 1 hour, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the common conception is that it's a little bit difficult, or rather it's very difficult to jump onto the bandwagon for digital marketing.
Yep.
But I hope that what I can share with everyone is that everyone can really do it. You just need to know a little bit of things, and like I said earlier just now, it's a lot of trial and error, throw out the bad, and then stick with the good.
Well, digital marketing certainly sounds very alienating to a lot of us older folks. So I can't wait to hear from you. So take it away, Lucas. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so welcome to my masterclass, and today I'll be taking you on a ride of the importance of one integrated strategy with digital media for marketing. The reason why I'm not going to use the word digital marketing is because, when we say digital marketing, we really think that everything needs to be online. But now it's phase two. Now in COVID-19, we're in the phase two period itself, and there are certain things that can go offline. So, traditional marketing is still relevant today, but of course, a big buzzword out of it, is really still digital. So how, can we make use of these digital platforms to really sell our products better, to reach out to our target consumers better? So yeah, if you guys can afford me this 1 hour, I'll be able to share with you, and hopefully not something that you guys can understand as well. So yeah, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so before we start and I go into, integrated digital media strategy, which sounds, obviously very chim in that sense, let's go down to the basics. What is digital marketing? So before we even go into, the standard academic definition, and I don't want to be too academic in my presentation, and I hope it's not going to be too academic for you watching here as well. What I really want to show is why and how digital marketing has really brought itself into, not just because of COVID-19, but brought itself as a really relevant means to actually communicate with our target audience. So firstly, the basic and the easiest way of understanding why this is actually happening is looking at Singapore. And if we look at Singapore, yes, our population size right now is about 5.83 million. It's very interesting to note because almost very, very high penetration rate of internet users in our country as well. I mean, all of us, we're watching this currently live on Facebook, and yeah, you have internet usage, and that's really something that is, I don't think a lot of us can really appreciate how easy internet access is in Singapore right now. But really, if you look at some other countries that are out there as well, internet coverage is not as big as what Singapore is, and I'm going to bring that stat out for you to see later on as well. We have about active social media users, about 4.6 million of them, and mobile phone connections. And this one, we all love to have at least more than one mobile phone. So we've got about 8.56 million mobile connections. Let's translate that into percentages. And you would see that overall, internet usage, yes, like I said just now, it's very, very high penetration rate, 88%. Active social media users at 79%, and mobile phone connections, 147%. I actually want to drive into comparison about with the global population and the global index regarding, these three different things. If we look at the global population of 7.75 million, and you look at the number of internet users, there's actually only a 59% penetration rate across the globe itself. And if you look at active social media users, it's only 49%, and mobile phone connections are only at 67%. So we are really, in our little red dot, which we're so proud of, right? It's really very unique because we actually have the potential and the right reach to really talk to every single person, almost every single person in Singapore. So when you want to use the internet to market your product, which in essence is really just communicating, right? You're looking at a country, a little red dot, where we can actually all stay connected. So in that sense, if you're looking at the current COVID situation and everything, and how we remain connected with each other, in that sense, it's really a blessing for us, to be also united, be able to be so united online as well. So that's the advantage that you get as a business, whether you are looking at a business, whether you're doing B2C or B2B, the overall probability for that to actually for you to communicate with your target audiences online, it's very high as well. If we look at the kind of devices though, at what Singaporeans are using, we realize that overall, obviously smartphones at a 95% penetration rate, laptops and desktops are about 78%. Streaming devices, well, if you have a smartphone, definitely is considered as counted as a streaming device as well. So it's also at 95%. And wearable tech, interestingly, the facts and the figures are showing us that 1 out of every 4 Singaporeans would be wearing a wearable technology as well. So why am I sharing all these different devices? Devices carry messages for you. and you want to take note, a big part of digital marketing is understanding consumer trends. So going into the data to understand what consumers are using, what they are wearing, what platforms are they on, really gives us more insights as to what should we use or what are the opportunities of new devices we can use to reach out to our target audience. So with that, what is the overall rate of change of devices used since 2019? You're actually looking at quite significant change in the wearable tech area. And of course, with laptops and desktops, because of, the work from home scenario that most of us are still in, a lot of people have also, adopted and bought their own laptops for personal use as well. And, if you're looking at smartphones and streaming devices, the percentage rate is not very high, but really it's the wearable tech. So with wearable technology, rising so high between 2019 and 2020, with the rate of change so high, what you're really looking at is there, or rather what you should be thinking is there opportunity to use wearable tech as the next device that we can actually put marketing messages on to reach out to our consumers as it gets more and more popular. So it's not just about the devices that we need to know. We also want to understand how are they using the internet as well. And I've highlighted over here the main four, and you'll be very familiar with them. The main four websites that really Singaporeans are going to, without a doubt, is Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Yahoo. And these statistics all come from Alexa. So Alexa was the one that provided all this. So with Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Yahoo, you can also see that the amount of time spent on these particular platforms are rather high as well, and the number of pages that they go through are rather high as well. But this is prototypical. When we think of marketing, we think, okay, let's advertise on Google, let's advertise on YouTube, or let's advertise on Facebook. I think there is a small population that will still think, okay, maybe we can still use Yahoo in that sense. But when we look at it, why, you should not just be looking at the top four, but you should also be looking at other sites that may be able to reach your target audience. So out of the top 20, I highlighted as well the last four. So Baidu, My Shopify, Lazada, and AliExpress. What I want to pinpoint it really is, I don't think it comes as a surprise for Baidu, Lazada, and AliExpress to be there. But for My Shopify, people might be wondering, you might be wondering right now, how did My Shopify make this list? So just to explain, it isn't just the Shopify site. It's basically SMEs who have built their website on Shopify and have bought a domain through Shopify itself. They are actually getting quite a number of hits. So we're realizing also that there are a lot of e-commerce sites within Singapore itself that are built on Shopify, and they are really popular. Why am I bringing this out? Again, these are opportunities. We always think of advertising and promoting on the prototypical platforms, Google, YouTube, Facebook. But have we ever extended that notion to think of opportunities where we can maybe co-brand with a different partner that is popular online? And it's one of the popular e-commerce sites online as well. Have we thought of maybe putting a banner ad onto, sites that are also still popular with Singaporeans, but not your prototypical ones as well? So understanding this data really gives us an edge in understanding, what are the different platforms we can actually use. The internet is so vast. Don't be limited to just the same platforms that you're always using or you think your consumers are on. Yes, they are there, but there are other opportunities as well that allows you to talk to them too. And if we go into social media, which I think most people will be very interested to understand what's happening in Singapore itself, we can see that overall 86% of consumers are actively engaged, okay, or have contributed a social media post within the past month itself. If you're wondering whether this has any relation to COVID, it's actually very slight difference. Yes, people are online more. The number of hours that we're spending on social media platforms is slightly higher, but it's not such a big difference that I wanted to bring it out. But it's already very high that 86% of the population on that have a social media account are really actively engaged and contributing to social media posts. So we're getting a lot of content that is being rolled out on a daily basis. Um, Additionally, there is about 40%, okay, of consumers out there that actually use social media for work purposes. So one of the things in the training programs that I've done through Singapore Poly, participants are always coming in and they're sharing like, how can we use digital marketing for B2B? How can we actually leverage on digital marketing to reach a business consumer? That is the notion that everybody thinks it's impossible. But this stat here actually shows that at least 40% of the active population on social media are actually using it for work purposes for B2B. So while, within, obviously, this is just a generic stat, right? So obviously within this generic stat, there is a couple of them here that are using it to, find jobs. There are also a couple of them here that are using it to network. There are also a couple of them that stay connected within their workplace using social media in that sense. So there are many different users to it. But what's interesting is, or rather what the takeaway is here is really don't ever limit yourself and say that there is a limitation to what I can use social media for, because clearly, and I think in the past few months as well, we've seen a lot of businesses actually adopt social media and internet marketing for their B2B marketing purposes as well. And the last stat that I wanted to show you here is that 8.8, is that every internet user in Singapore, the average number of social media accounts that each person has is 8.8. So you might be thinking, you might be counting on your mobile phone right now, right? Trying to think like, how many different apps am I on? How many social media accounts do I actually have? So the thing about it is, there is a trend, and I believe some of you might have it, some of you watching might actually have it, of actually having dummy accounts that you use for other purposes. So, it's also something that it's an insight for you to understand about your consumers. They have, number one, they have their normal account, which is basically for them to interact with their friends and family and everything. And then they've also got the dummy account, which they use to maybe stalk people. Okay, and they've maybe got a work account, so there's their professional image and everything. More often than not, we're seeing people adopt these kind of things to basically compartmentalize their overall social media presence online as well. So what platforms are they using, right, on social media? Again, similar to the internet usage and the four top prototypical sites. For social media, I think what's interesting is that just about 2 years ago, Facebook was number one. But really what we're looking at in this year, 2020, is that YouTube has jumped to number one, WhatsApp is number two, Facebook is number three, Instagram number four, and Facebook Messenger number five. And there's also this talk amongst everybody now that what about TikTok? Where does it list within this whole chunk of social media platforms that we have and that we use as well? Well, interesting to note, TikTok is actually just, behind Sino Weibo, okay? Well, this statistic was from January 2020, so there might be a little bit of change from then, of course, for TikTok, because the growth of TikTok has been quite exponential in the last few months itself. But what I want to point out is people in recent times have, blanked out Twitter in Singapore. And that's really interesting to note. Why? Because Twitter is actually on the same length as LinkedIn as well. So people are thinking of LinkedIn marketing, but you're not thinking of leveraging on Twitter. Whilst, other countries, as we have seen, and they have gone viral, there are celebrities, and there are CEOs from big corporations that are leveraging on Twitter to actually market themselves as well. So with that, these also gives us a better understanding of what are the different platforms that we can actually leverage on. So once again, don't just look at, what are the top 5 listed here, look at the rest as well. I think the most important thing is, where is your target audience and how are they and when are they using these particular platforms? Those are the things that are really important to note, because when you know those things, you are able to send the right message at the right time, at the right place to the people that you want to talk to. So be it whether it's a B2C consumer or a business consumer, those are the main three things that you really should identify and know and how to actually communicate with them. So you might be wondering, is it difficult to get this data? So just to share with everyone that's watching here, this data is readily available on the internet, okay? Everybody is sharing data and sources of data all the time now, and it's really public data. While you can't put a mark on it and say that this is 100% accurate and I'm following this data, it would definitely give me the right result. What you're actually looking at is giving you a higher probability. So if I were to tell you right now, okay, go in cold with marketing, okay, you don't know anything, you don't know where your target audiences are whatsoever, and you have no data to tell you, you're just trying out, as compared to if you had a little bit of data to tell them, to tell you where they are, what time are they on the particular platform, and what kind of message do they want to hear from you. If you had these three things and the probability was only 20% true of them, would you use that data? I'm sure you would. I'm here to tell you that the probability of the data being true is definitely more than 20%. It's just not 100%. So make use of it. These are tangible opportunities that we really have to make use of if we want to make use of digital media effectively. All right, so at the end of that, what it really all means with all this data for us, key insights to take away at this point in time, is that mobile is really still king. Most B2C and B2B consumers are on the go. And being on the go, I mean, when I'm saying this as well, it doesn't mean that, we are work from home. It doesn't mean that we're not on the go. It basically means that our lifestyle is really on our mobile phones itself. And a large percentage of our lifestyles is really on it these days as well. So mobile target marketing is really still the number one thriver, or rather one of the main ones that really helps you target your consumers very, very effectively. Viewability is still really crucial. Remember that whilst, you need to be mobile friendly, there are so many different devices out there. So if you're going to build in banners, you're going to build in, messages and everything, you want it to appear nicely onto people's phones, right? You don't want them to like look at your particular message and be like having to zoom in or zoom out or scroll to the right or scroll to the left. It just makes it extremely messy. So what you really want to do is to really understand and know what devices your customers are using and make sure you customize the messages to fit the devices nicely as well. Okay, so for example, if this was on Instagram Story Live, the format would be very different. You won't be seeing me you won't be seeing the slides in a landscape format. You'll be seeing it in a portrait format. And content breeds engagement. The number one rule of digital marketing is that you need content. If you have no content, nobody's going to come after you. If you have no content, nobody's going to follow you. If you have no content, you're not going to get any kind of engagement to get people to want to purchase from you. So that is still really, really important as well. Okay, so in a nutshell, what is digital marketing? It's basically the process of communicating and delivering brand and product value to customers, prospects through relevant digital platforms. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only academic part that I'm going to share. All right. But besides that, let's move on. Now, one of the main things that people have misconstrued is digital marketing is very different. We need to have a WhatsApp group so we can target we can talk to our loyal customers over there. We need to have a Facebook page and we need to put in our main content over there. Oh, don't forget to buy ads as well. But the thing is, digital marketing is actually not so different from traditional marketing. Everything in traditional marketing, that is advertising, public relations, personal selling, sales promotions, and direct marketing, is also being done on digital marketing. All right. And just to explain in a very, very quick way, advertising, I don't think I need to explain that. You see ads every day on your social media feed, I'm sure. And you also get retargeted with banner ads every time you're surfing internet as well, right? From different pages to different pages. Well, with public relations, how then do we then use social media for that. Think about the last time an important person actually went online to actually share a very, very important message. And you realize that, wait, previously people had to, do a press release, a proper press release, invite the media, stand in front of them, probably a press kit as well. But today, all you need is an office or a laptop with an inbuilt camera or just an inbuilt camera. And really, you can just make your message, you can just bring a message out to the people who need to hear it. Now, the question is whether you are reaching the right people who actually want to hear your message. So, but the tool is there, you can use it. And it's the same way of actually getting media to cover your story or what you need to say. Personal selling, a lot of times, I think one of the two industries that have really, really ramped up personal selling using digital media in the past few months, you would have seen the property, our property agents, and as well as our insurance agents actually learn how to adopt digital technology to actually do personal selling online. So you see Zoom, what do you call that? Zoom walkthroughs of the different houses when you want to actually want to see it and everything. I believe most of you might have seen stories online about how there were property agents who managed to close a sale even during the circuit breaker period as well. And as well as insurance agents also talking and sharing with their clients, doing personal selling online using Zoom. Okay, so definitely it's also still being used. Sales promotions, I think we see this so often. If you have Shopee, Lazada, Zalora, you have all these different apps on your phone. I'm sure you're receiving push notifications on the different sales promotions almost every single day itself, right? Okay, and direct marketing. Well, there is no better medium. In the past, direct marketing used to be so expensive. You basically need to find a way to actually send, you need to get an address of your customer or your prospective customer in order to send them a parcel or to send them a leaflet or a flyer, or maybe you have to do it at a trade show where they come to you personally, right? But today, just think about it. If you have somebody that you want to market to and you find them on LinkedIn, can you actually send a message to that person on LinkedIn without actually knowing the person's address whatsoever? You can. So that's the leverage point that we get with digital marketing as well. So really, all these functions still play a really important role in digital marketing. It is not any different from traditional marketing. The only difference is that we're using digital tools now. So how do we overall integrate all these things? So very, very quickly, we do this by having different media types. There are 3 different media types that I would like to introduce to you if you're new to digital marketing and you want to find out how do you actually integrate it. So there are 3 different media types for us to understand. The first is owned, paid, second is paid, and the last is earned. So let me take you through what each one of this is. So for owned media, it's really just media that is owned by you. You own the page. You can do anything you want. You can post anything you want. You can do it. You can do all these things for free. I mean, if you're hiring somebody, that there's that cost there, but the posting itself, everything is for free. Okay, so you really have full control. You can use it to funnel, to get your consumers to that particular platform, to talk to them. Okay, it's obviously cost effective because it's $0 per se. Doesn't cost you any dollars and cents to create a Facebook page. Doesn't cost you any dollars and cents to create an Instagram page, for example. However, the reach is limited because it's dependent on how many people are actually following you. All right. It's time consuming to manage it because you need to update it constantly. You can't leave it hanging. When was the last time you actually did a search for a place on Google and you found the location? You wanted to find out whether they have a website, but they don't have a website. They have a Facebook page. You go inside the page itself and you don't see any information on there. Especially, whether you just want to find out whether the place is open or closed itself, right? So you need to constantly update it with anything that you have on owned media. And it's really targeted at your own customers, people that are, or prospective customers, they are really warm leads already if they're going onto your own media. So this refers to like your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, Instagram pages, etc. All right, so a good example, with our own homegrown brand is really like Singapore Airlines itself, where it maintains, it just doesn't, Singapore Airlines is so well marketed back in the traditional marketing day, but they didn't rest on their laurels when digital media picked up and they had to use it as well. So really, they had to make sure that everything goes on, everything is being seen well online as well and received well online as well, which is why if you look at the different owned media pages of Singapore Airlines, you realize the consistency in their branding and their messages, but at the same time, they are almost everywhere. So you can find them. The thing about digital media is that you want to make sure that when people want to find you, they can find you, regardless of what platforms they're on as well. So prototypical platforms of Singaporeans, are you on those particular platforms? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself in relation to, do you have the right owned media platforms currently? The next one is paid media, something that I believe most of you would be very, very familiar with. And for paid media, it's basically all your ads that you see online, whether it's social media, whether it's on the internet, whether it's web pages. All right. You basically pay a certain sum of money to reach to your target audience, to get to your target audience. All right. And today, I'm sure most of you would also know that you don't just pay an ad network. Previously we pay an ad network that can help publicize these messages. So ads were really on TV, radio, magazines, right? But today it's really much, much more expanded. You don't just pay Google or Facebook, or very soon we're going to have WhatsApp advertising, probably, maybe. All right. But you don't just pay the prototypical ones that people are on board as well. You can even pay some channels within these platforms that are popular, that target the right target audience for you. So that's why influencer marketing and affiliate marketing has become really popular today as well. All right. So it allows you to reach the right target audience. It can be mass or very targeted towards a certain niche group of people. However, it can be costly, depends how much money you're going to pump in itself. It is intrusive. I'm sure none of us actually likes to see ads unless it is really very impactful. And to be very honest, everyone's doing it. So when you're competing on paid media itself, you're competing basically with the entire world, because the space that you're trying to garner or get on your consumer's mobile screen or internet or desktop or laptop itself is just inundated with paid media ads. All right. But it allows you, okay, to go very targeted towards your prospects or general consumers. So yeah, these are basically examples of it. I'm sure you have seen these kind of sponsored ads all over the place on search engines and on social media as well. Okay, and even when you're receiving electronic direct mailers, emailers in your email, okay, you can actually buy email lists as well, from popular or basically a publication that can reach the right target audience for you. So you can just buy the list over there, and they will basically, don't worry about data protection here. They won't give you the data of their consumers, okay? They're not allowed to, all right? But basically, you will give them your content, and then they will publicize it for you to their target audience, okay? And the last one we have is earned media. So earned media really is really related to public relations in that sense. Okay, it's free of charge. You don't have to pay anything for it. You can't control whether it's positive or negative. It's just like how I can't see the comments now, so I'm not sure whether the reception that I'm getting is positive or negative, unfortunately. But Irene will let me know later. But yeah, you can't control the kind of coverage that you're the positivity or negative coverage that you're going to garner. You can only just do your best in that sense. There is an expanded reach because you're reaching different networks. When somebody, so earned media basically it's like when somebody shares a post that you have just posted, or you have done something, you publicize it on your own channel. They see it, they like it, they share it. When they share it, it basically then goes onto their own network. So now instead of just your group of friends seeing it, now the friends of your friend that shared that post will be able to see that particular post that your friend helped you share as well. All right, so that's why we call it expanded reach. Okay, it's organic. All right, It's trustworthy. People believe this more because they see it as word of mouth. And who are the ones that really help you with own media? Advocates. Again, they can be positive or negative advocates. So we need to be careful about it. But it's good information for us because when it's negative, well, it's information that we can learn from to better ourselves in the future. All right. Okay, so different types of earned media, for example, when media coverage on Straits Times, Mothership, or Twitter, when a celebrity tweets on Twitter about your brand, or even in affiliate publications, like a prototypical affiliate publication that you subscribe to. For example, for marketing professionals, most probably it will be like on Marketing Interactive. Okay. So at this point, I believe most of you might have seen this, but I would just like to share a little bit about it. What if, okay, Caltex, I'm sure y'all actually saw this happening. So in case you've not seen it, during GE 2020, there was a very famous speech that was being made. And within a couple of hours, Caltex actually made use of that particular speech and posted it up and did this particular post. So, dear East Coast residents, we too have a plan for you and your car in East Coast, in Singapore, together for you. Fuel up at Caltex East Coast so that you may enjoy the journey ahead in East Coast. Now, as you can see, we have just gone through owned, earned, and paid media, right? So this is obviously owned media. They posted on their own Facebook page. And did they garner earned media? Yes, they definitely did. 3.2K shares as well. So they definitely did garner earned media in that sense, and people engaging with them as well. So this is really good. But let me ask you a question at this point in time for you to ponder about it. Will consumers who have seen this post, it's a great post, right? So in a way, we can say they're winning social media for that day. So in that sense, will consumers who see this post choose and go to Caltex after seeing this? Will they actually do that? Or what would they actually do? And how many percent of the people that have actually chosen would have actually chosen to go to Caltex the next time they think of going to a petrol kiosk? Now, for most drivers, you would know that changing petrol kiosk is not okay, today I will just make that decision to just change a petrol kiosk for no reason, or just because they're winning social media, I will change petrol kiosk. For most drivers, you would know that that wouldn't happen. But if today, there was 50% off at a particular petrol kiosk, word spreads, word of mouth, everybody can go, right? If we find on a price point basis, consumers earn, unfortunately, businesses will gain. Businesses lose, they don't gain, all right? So that's why most of the time businesses, it's really difficult. It's a last resort that you really want to play on a price point, or when you actually can give back. That is why you're playing on a price point. However, okay, if we take in this context, winning social media, will you actually make that change and that switch to go to Caltex the next day? You wouldn't. The thing is, most consumers actually wouldn't. So then, is there any basis of winning social media? Do I actually have to win social media? Well, we'll come back to that later on, all right? So now I'm getting into the last part of my presentation, okay, which is the dessert part, which is then why must we integrate, okay? So as you see, I left a little hole down there so that I'll be touching on that topic as we go into this part of topic 3. I hope some of you remember these, okay? In case you can't see the ads clearly, basically 3 bus stop ads, they were all in Singapore. They received flack about it in the past, okay? I can easily be satisfied by anything. I am strong, I can take whatever you give me. I'm easy, I'll take whatever you give me. I'm sure many of you might remember it and remember the attention that it got and everything and all that, right? How about this one? Do you remember this? Okay. The guy, he was trying to sell his house, okay? And these 3 will start trying to sell this car, right? Also, it gained a lot of media coverage and attention towards them. To bring y'all back, this one was actually for anything and whatever, the drink. And for this one, it was for mocha.com. More recently, I'm not sure how many of you have actually seen this. They were also bus stop ads running around, okay? And basically, it it was promoting a platform called Hi.sg, actually showing the effects of what drug abuse can actually do to you. And it was a public campaign in Singapore itself. There were bus stop ads on this, and it was to lead people towards an interactive game on an interactive video and game on Hi.sg itself. At this particular juncture, I would like to ask, but I can't receive your feedback, so you can just put it in the comments, okay? Did you buy anything or whatever, the canned drink itself? Do you think mocha.com is still around today? And how many of you actually went into Hi.sg? It's still there, by the way, so after this, if you all want to go and play it, by all means, it's actually really quite fun, and it's done by our Singaporean creative director for last night's NDP celebration, Royston Tan. Yeah, if I didn't get that fact wrong, okay? But yeah, so Hi.sg is actually, sorry, just lost my train of thought for a bit there. Hi.sg was actually a very public campaign on anti-drug abuse and everything. So with that being said, okay, how many of y'all actually bought anything or whatever, the canned drink, went to mocha.com to maybe purchase a flat or a car or something? And how many of y'all actually went to get yourselves educated on the Hi.sg website and actually shared it with your friends to spread the word about, anti-drug abuse and everything? I'm not expecting the numbers to be very high. So with that, the reason why the numbers are not very high, and the reason why most of us didn't get to that point, whilst putting out your marketing messages on, and the first two I showed is on traditional media. Hi.sg was a mixture of YouTube ads, digital ads as well, and bus stop ads as well. So there was a good combination of digital and social media being used, digital, social media, and traditional media being used. But really what it was actually lacking, it was understanding the marketing funnel. So when we want to understand the marketing funnel, what a lot of people do online today is to build awareness. You tell them about your brand. You tell them why you're doing this. I tell a story about myself. That's basically what it is. But really, before they actually get to the part to buy, they need to go through education. They need to be educated about your product or service. They need to form a liking towards you. Then they need to have a preference, because there are derivatives that they can choose, right, apart from yours as well. And they then need to be convicted before they actually purchase. So can one single platform actually do all these things for you? Whilst if you're really, really lucky with really a very bombastic and great content that can generate the kind of reach and attention, and it can engagement and get people to actually share it and everything, then brilliant. One platform is going to do that for you. But most of the time, you can't actually rely on one platform. Reason being, a lot of the consumers are not just on one platform alone. Remember what I said previously about the right time, right place, and with the right message as well. So with these three things in mind, you have to penetrate it at the right platforms, and multiple of them, because you want to be continued in your effort. You can't just tell them once. So another reason why we have to funnel them through this entire thing itself is because knowledge, liking, preference, and conviction, this entire part is really dependent on one particular matrix that we use and do on digital marketing, which is engagement. If you don't have engagement, you can forget about them thinking about purchasing from you in that sense. You want them to be engaged with you to find out more. The probability of them actually buying is much, much higher. So what you're doing with digital marketing is not just thinking that, okay, 100% of the people that I reach out to, 100% of them will buy. It will never be the case. It streamlines itself down. Why? Because of the different kind of engagement rates that we get from different platforms. So the ones that I've listed here, personally, you may be getting higher engagement rates for your own self, but the ones that I've listed here are the average engagement rates across Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So for Instagram, it's about 7.2%, Facebook is 3.22%, TikTok is 9.38%, and Twitter is 1.44%. Now, what this actually translates to, and so, we're talking about using digital marketing and media to actually get these messages across, right, to people. Whilst you get your message across, what this basically says that if I advertise or put my message on Twitter, I'm only expecting about 1.4% of them to actually be engaged with it. Okay, so engagement means either reacting to the particular post itself or actually sharing it. You know, there must be an action or actually clicking on the link. Now, out of this 1.4% that you've reached out to, how many percent are actually going to be converted to purchase from you? Obviously lesser, right? You can't expect the full 1.4% to purchase from you. So when you're looking at increasing the number of items that you want to sell, okay, you need to take note across different platforms. What is the overall engagement rate? And do simple math to analyze that. Look, if I want more sales here, then I just need to open up and reach out to more people over here. But don't forget the right people. You want to reach out to the right people, okay? And the reason why I put TikTok here, another anecdote to think about or to think through, is that with TikTok itself, whilst it might not be the most popular social media in Singapore right now, it is obviously very popular with a certain particular target audience demographic profile in Singapore itself. The engagement rate that you're going to get on TikTok is actually really high, 9.38%. And that gives you an opportunity if that demographic profile is your target audience. All right. So, and that's not forgetting that you still need to, after engaging them, you still need to funnel them, okay, to actually purchase. So if, let's say in a typical campaign, you've reached out to 100 people, what the stats are basically telling you in the slide before is that if you marketed on Instagram, out of 100, 7 people would have clicked on your link or reacted to your particular post. On Facebook, 3 people. On TikTok, 9 people, and on Twitter, 1 person. And then you still need to funnel them to actually purchase from you. And that's obviously not 100% of the engaged people itself. So you need to be able to size the volume at the top for awareness much higher in order to actually convert more people. I mean, in that sense, it's simple math. So how can you reach out to them? You reach out to them not just using one single platform, you reach out to them on the right time, on the right place, using multiple platforms to actually get the right message out to them. So that repeatedly when they're seeing it across different platforms and different sites, they would start to remember you. So why integrate? Overall, to sum it all up, because most people you reach won't even bother looking at the marketing messages. When is the last time that you actually read a marketing message, honestly? And how do we actually use our social media platforms? The easiest way of understanding your consumers, if I can share with you, is really put yourself in your consumer's shoes and understand how they're using. If you want to use digital marketing today to market to your consumers, you want to use digital media to market to your consumers, the number one step that you need to take for yourself is to be a consumer on that platform as well. If you don't do that, then you will never empathize or understand how your consumer is using that particular platform. So it's tough. I get it. It's hard to do it. But really, once you take that first step and it is of interest to you, I can guarantee you that it would actually be fun, enriching, and exciting. Think about back in the day when you first, if there are some of you online right now, think about back in the day when you first started your business. And when you first started your business, you had to really learn everything on your own. You did not know how to do marketing, maybe, okay? And you had to get out onto the streets and you get to reel people in. You had to do personal selling to reel people in. And you need to pull them in. You needed them to experience what you could give them as a product or service. Now, the only difference between then and now is that then you could do that. That marketplace allowed you to actually get out there to reel people in. But today you need to do that digitally. And it's actually not difficult once you understand how to use it as a consumer yourself. All right. So that's why for those who do pay attention, please reel them in. Learn the techniques and the skills of how to pull them into the funnel itself to get them to buy. Unless the offer is extremely attractive and memorable, most consumers will not buy immediately. Okay. So that means you need to constantly show yourself, remind them about you, talk to them so that overall, when they need or want a product or service that you provide, when they think about the product or service category that you provide, even for B2B services, they would think of you first. All right. So it's also subliminal conditioning to actually get people to also remember your brand in the long run. Okay, so yeah, that is my presentation. If you have any queries regarding additional techniques and tactics to be used and everything, you can actually find out more from a lot of SG United courses that were coming out from SP itself, and you can send your inquiries to ptinquiry@sp.edu.sg. All right, so yeah, that is the end of my presentation. We can now have Irene back with us, and yeah.
Integrate, integrate, integrate. We get the point, Lucas. Wow. You know, I've always thought that I'm a marketer of some sort, and I never knew that integration is so important. I thought now everybody don't care about the old traditional, and everybody only care about social media. Then, and as it is, social media already have so many diverse things to market, right? Wow, very good. And all of you who tune in, please tell your friends. After this, we have repeat of this session, okay? Stand by your camera, because just now I took a few pictures, don't mind, of your slides. Then I'm going to share with my team next week during our company's meeting. You know, thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, so we want to take some question here. We have an award-winning marketer commenting that, Cheryl Lim, commenting that this is a relevant topic for everyone, every industry, every level, and every job scope too. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 10 minutes. Let's quickly. Perlene asks, how can business cut through the clutter on digital media? What's your answer?
Well, for businesses to cut through the clutter, it really, when we are trying to augment or rather optimize media, right? So a lot of marketers, if you're watching it now, you'll be very familiar with this topic. How do you optimize? Optimization, optimizing your content to basically cut through the clutter requires you to analyze whether the content is working for you, number one. Number two, analyze the media platform as well. So a large part of it, and this one you've got to dive into it a little bit more. So just now I said play with it first, right?
Yep.
After playing, you then learn how to use it more properly. So when you are receiving the data, so data is going to be a big part of digital marketing, and that's actually a really brilliant opportunity here, because when you analyze what channels are actually working for you. So if, for example, if you're using Google Analytics, you can actually see where people are coming from, which channels they're coming in from. And you can also tag, right, a unique URL to the different posters or campaign posters that you're putting out there. So when you actually tag all these things in, you can actually analyze which content is working for you and which channel is working best for you. So then you optimize and leverage on that. The next thing that you can do is also target the people who are responding to your ads itself. So when you're targeting, firstly, you always go with a very wide base. Okay, this is who I think my target audience is. But one of the functions that we have in digital marketing and on Google Ads and on Facebook as well is something called a look-alike audience. So you can actually optimize it by actually taking the information of and blasting the same ad to a look-alike audience. So they don't blast it to the same people. They're blasting it to people who have almost the same behavioral patterns as the people who have previously engaged with you. So that's how you can optimize it further to reach the right people. It's not so much about breaking out the clutter from everywhere. It's impossible because everybody is posting every day. But you can be more targeted with your approach.
Yeah, sometimes I feel very overwhelmed by the posts, and I don't know which to watch, and I sometimes totally don't watch and switch off.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of data, during the entire week, right, we have different workshops, 37 workshops in the daytime, free taster workshop, as well as SkillsFuture advice in 4 languages, English, Malay, Chinese, and Indian. But there's one particular course that I think complements what you just shared. It is happening on 11th of August tomorrow. Same time slot as you, between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. But it's on a Zoom virtual workshop. So you can log on to our Facebook page. It's visualizing data with tools. So I think you mentioned quite a lot about studying data, and I think a lot of people would like to learn how to use data to help them. So if you are interested to take to level 2 of Lucas's talk, maybe you'd like to join us tomorrow night at 7 to 8 p.m., visualizing data with tools. We have another question here. A lot of traditional businesses don't see the value in digital marketing because its results are difficult to quantify. You know, a view doesn't equate to a buy, and so on and so forth. Are there any compelling reasons that can convince such business owners to consider digital marketing?
I think honestly, the most compelling reason we have is actually in our current climate that we have right now, which is COVID-19. You know, can you stick to only traditional methods today in reaching out to your consumers?
Yep.
I think the most compelling thing is, where are your consumers right now? And they are online. And if you're not making use of this opportunity to talk to them, then how do you expect them to find you offline?
Yep.
A lot of it, especially, I mean, I'm just going to pull out an example. For example, if you were quite a famous hawker, and you know, you've got your regular customers coming into you and everything. What happens when suddenly the hawker center has to go through renovation? You usually put a notice and you tell people that are coming to you, this is where I'm moving to next, you know? But the thing is, sometimes consumers don't record it inside their phone. They don't remember. And once the coffee shop closes down, the hawker center closes down, your notice is also gone. So when you do move, you know, how are people actually going to find out that that's where you are now? You know, because they don't communicate with your other loyal customers as well. What, you know, there isn't a Facebook group or what that they have and everything. You can create that though, you know, and then it becomes less costly. So, you know, you can actually create a Facebook group with your own loyal customers to chat and banter with them online as well, in different WhatsApp groups even, and then that will be your main mode of communication, which is also digital marketing.
Yeah, I feel that it's come to a point because of COVID-19 that it's come to a point of it's not a choice. If you don't do it, right, you absolutely going to lose out your customers. Everything is changed, and this is the new normal. But the heartening thing is that what we see online is a lot of second generations of, especially the hawkers, like what you mentioned, helping in and coming in to help the grandparents or the uncles and aunties, and particularly those younger people because they feel that now they could finally be involved in a very old traditional heritage wonton noodle or char kway teow. And that's great. And we see family coming closer because of that. So we have one interesting question I see from Miguel. Miguel said, what are your thoughts on businesses aggressively imbuing work messages like anti-racism, LGBT inclusiveness, and environmental issues in their advertising? What are your thoughts on that?
I think
does it help the business, or it has a counter effect?
It depends on, again, the target audience per se, as to who your target audience is, because if your target audience is receptive to these topics and will get them speaking and communicating, and it's positive communication that's going to come out of it, then by all means use it. It's great to use that in particular. However, when your own target audience, the current customers that you have, are not in agreement or having a different view from what you actually intended it to actually have, then I would say steer away from that, because then you're going to actually lose your loyal customers. So it's really a business decision that you have to make. Do you want these loyal customers to stay with you when they're having these differing views? And if you don't want them, then by all means change up your marketing messages and you can put these ones out. But if you want to keep those loyal customers with you, then you might want to consider it as a point as to whether you want to be a little bit more, in that sense, conservative with those messages putting out there. But once again, I would like to share that conservative messages gets you very little engagement. So using these messages also gets the banter and the conversation going across a bigger target consumer group. But you need to be able to take the heat. If you're not prepared to take the heat, then I would say steer away from it.
I think it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
But then just now you gave a very good suggestion. Try first.
Yes.
Oh, if it doesn't work,
something you try already, you cannot take back.
Right. Actually, really is a trial and error. I have one last question, and due to time constraint, we have 1 more minute. I hope to push in this question, because this question is really after my heart. Okay, what do you think about influencer marketing?
Honestly, I think in the last few weeks, last few months, we've seen so many different sides of it, and so many different
Of course.
trending topics coming out from this as well. Um, well, influencer marketing is almost, the mirror of it was having brand ambassadors in the past, but that one, you have bigger contracts and everything.
Yep.
But influencer marketing is the same way. You are borrowing their personality, their lifestyle, the people that they can target to for you. And it is very effective. So if the personality that you are thinking of using shares the same values and the same overall lifestyle persona of your brand, of your business, then by all means use it, because that relationship is always going to work well. But don't forget, these are also your brand ambassadors. So build a relationship with them. They are not just a media channel. You need to build a relationship with them for them to be effective for you as well.
Not just because they have big numbers of followers, then you use them. This is something I absolutely agree with you. The personality, the influencer that you use should, what do you call it? Coincide with your own brand personality, right? Okay, so my brand personality is very volatile and it's very varied. So please feel free to use me. Thank you so much, Lucas, and it is so nice to have you on us. And for those of you who are more interested to find out on visual data tools, visualizing with data with tools, to add on to what you learned from Lucas today, tomorrow, 7 p.m. same time on the same channel here. Thank you so much, Lucas. And
thank you. Thanks, Irene.
We'd like to thank you once again, and I will make sure every one of my friends' children going to Poly should only sign up for your course, Singapore Poly, because he's such a great lecturer. Even I enjoyed.
Yes, please. Open house is coming, end of the year. So for all those in Sec 4 O levels, choose SP, okay?
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Lucas.
you.
Have a great time. God bless. See you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
And for the rest of you, ladies and gentlemen, coming up very soon, let us have a few minutes to turn around. We have Mai Yuke and our mayor from Southwest CDC, Lo Yen Ling, as well as our trainer from SCCI, Kelly, okay? So stay tuned, and remember, every night at 8 p.m., we have our Facebook Live with different mayors from North, South, East, West. So all of you who are watching this, please tag your friends who are living in the Southwest or anywhere in Singapore. This is the first time our 5 CDC comes together. And see you in just about 5 minutes. Take care and see you in a short while, very short while.